Welcome to Fantasy Legends. My name's Scott, and today we're going to be looking at one of Final Fantasy VIII's minor antagonists, Norg. Now please remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now let's get on with the video. Norg is the money man of the Blam Gardens, and he's referred to by the Garden facility as the Garden Master. He's actually of the race of Shumi, and he is from the Shumi village. Norg has actually evolved from the Shumi tribe into a large Shumi, rather than the Mumba, which we get to see in the prison section of the game. However, we do not know if he actually ever worked as an elder of the Shumi tribe, so we are very unsure about his actual history before being the proprietor of the garden. Me personally, I would say no, as he seems to be a black sheep of the tribe. He is very vain, selfish, and cowardly in some circumstances, which goes contradictory to what the rest of the Shumi in the game are like. They're very, they have their own customs, you know, they conceal their hands and things like that. And he just displays his proudly, which is completely separate to what the other Shumi do. So for me personally, I would say he was never an elder, more like probably an outcast, maybe even removed from the Shumi society. However, we don't have that information. The reason Norg is in this story is not because of his background or even his Shumi inheritance. It's actually the fact that Sid Kramer, at the time of his establishment of Garden, was looking for finance, as he had the idea to open a garden. However, he didn't have the money to do it. So this is where Norg came in, and Norg provided the money in order to make Garden a reality. Dynamic can be quite confusing for new players, as at one side you see Sid as the headmaster of the garden. However, he really doesn't have a lot of control over what actually happens, as that is done by the facility, and all those facilities are run by Norg. You know, all the facility management guys, they're all in Norg's pocket. So Sid has a very limited scope of what he can actually do in Garden. He is in charge of siege training, however. As time went on, Norg got more and more frustrated, as the siege goal was to defeat the sorceress, or even their purpose, in fact. However, Norg wasn't really interested in that. He just wanted to make money from the garden. So what he decided to do is hire them out as mercenaries. Even though on the surface it looks like Sid is in charge of sending out Seed on their missions, it's actually Norg behind it, taking the jobs, making sure that they are profitable, making money all the time, because that's all he really cares about. He's very selfish in that way. We don't see Norg loads in the story. However, what we do see is very interesting. Once the assassination attempt of the sorceress fails, we see Norg get very worried that Garden will be targeted for the next attack, as obviously the sorceress will be really angry with them for having tried to assassinate them. Due to this worry that Norg had, he felt that it was in everyone's best interest to hand over the party to Adia. However, Sid vehemently disagreed, and this ended up in an all-out war against the two sides of the garden. This was one of my favourite scenes in the game, as you saw that, you know, where people were and who they supported. During the battle, Norg and Sid have a meeting where Sid leaves in a huff, having basically lost the whole battle in terms of strength, just because Norg's side is so much in control of Garden. So what ends up happening is they summon Squall in the party, and they decide to hand over the party to Adia. However, obviously, we don't let that happen, and we have a fight with Norg, which is a really interesting fight, actually, and one of the more interesting bosses of the game, in my opinion. In the end of the fight, he does end up going into a glowing cocoon-like form that we see once we defeat him. What's interesting, after this fight, we never actually see Norg again. The party can go into the chamber again, and they meet, you know, a couple of Shumi that just apologise for Norg's behaviour. And we also notice that the cocoon's broken in the chamber itself. basically, where is Norg? You know, did he die? Did something happen to him? Now, what's interesting though is the one little tidbit we get, which can easily be missed in the game, is the first time we go to Fisherman's Horizon. There's the boatman on the Drunken Alley Wonders. And he wonders what Norg will evolve into, which ends up confusing Squall, and we never actually get an answer to it. I'd have loved to know what happened to Norg. So that is the end of Norg's story. What did you guys think? Did you find him interesting? Was he a bit boring for you? Please let me know in the comments down below. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for listening.